I've been doing the hashtag dad talk to on video, but the messages to my younger self, we're still doing that with my guests because I find it fascinating to hit them up during an interview. It's been really fun because you never know where we're going to go with this. I mean, what comes into their head and what they immediately think about. Well, if you're Mike, you're giving a message to a younger person and you want to give them some advice. You're thinking back, I framed it up that I was talking to myself because I made so many mistakes as I was growing up. What would you like, one or two things you'd like to share with yourself or younger people that didn't work out so well, but if you had to do it over again, you might avoid it? Go right ahead, please.
We could talk for an hour on that. I'll stick to medicine. Contracts. Make sure as physicians, you trust people. You think everyone's going to be forthright. We that's part of our oath is to be honest and open with people. We tell people the truth, and you expect that you're hearing the truth from everybody. And so when you do contracts, and you're like, I don't want to ask for this or that. I don't want some pushing. You need to do those contracts because they're so important down the road to protect you as the person, the employee. Because gosh, for sure, whatever company you're working for is protecting themselves, or whatever contract you're working for, say it's building a house, they're protecting themselves. You need to protect yourself because it can cause issues. You think that sometimes they don't work out. You make changes in life, and it shouldn't be that complicated if you want to just sort of like separate and move apart. So I would say contracts are something that if I were to go back, I 100% guarantee that simple thing I would be much better with. I did do that, and it still didn't matter in some situations. But at the end of the day, you really want to make sure you protect yourself because you never know your bosses will change 4 or 5 times over. You might be in an institution for 20 years, but you're going to have 5 or 6 different bosses. They're like roll in and roll out. And you get somebody that just decides they're going to do what they're going to do. And it can really mess up the whole situation. So I would tell my old self, the wisdom. I would do pretty much everything I did. I do the same profession. I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. I'm so privileged to be able to take care of patients and do it in a way where I can use surgical and non-surgical means to help people. I love working with people. I love all that. I loved working at Michigan State with all the athletes, high level people. I do all that over, but I would be better about making sure I protected certain things with contracts. It's just like, hey, that's not personal. I'm still not good at it. I still like, oh, okay, whatever, but you got to do that part. From a health perspective, what would I tell myself? Still tell myself, you get one body. And there's so many things that we love in life. There are a lot of, we call them vices. They're just things we enjoy. We love to drink alcohol. Some people love to smoke cigarettes. Some people love to eat. Everything in moderation, of course, because you can really mess your body up otherwise. And certainly, probably I would have liked to be, still would like to be better at taking care of myself. And I always tell my athletes, and it's hard to go back and tell your 16-year-old athlete, do you sure you want to play the season with your torn meniscus and your beat up knee? Because when you're 16, that's the most important thing in the world. And I try and explain to my patients, like, we can get you through it and we can fix things and we can push envelopes to get you back. But you need to realize the consequences of that. And I don't want to ever have a patient that when they're 50 or 60 go, I really wish I hadn't done this sport or I hadn't done that because my knees are bothering me now or my hips bother me. I hear that all the time from older patients where, our residents in orthopedics, they played football or whatnot. They're like, I wish I hadn't played. They flat out wish they hadn't played. And so with my athletes, I always say, like, you're making an adult decision that you're going to live with for the rest of your life, not good or bad, but you got to be okay with that. Is this worth 20 years from now, if you're, limping around because of your arthritic knee, because you wanted to play with a injured knee, despite sort of medical advice, that 6-year-old may not listen to your future self and may not listen to their parents and may not listen to, to you as a physician, but they need to hear, all right, well, here's the consequences. It's not it's been done before. People play through it, but just don't make this decision, live with it, own up to it. And I think most of them do. I mean, if they make that decision, I think that later in life, like, hey, I made that decision. I knew that this, it's not like it's the worst thing in the world. We're complaining about arthritis. It's some soreness in our knees. In the big picture of life, it's not that big of a deal. It's just sort of annoying, and we got to get, we have ways to get rid of it. So I guess that would be my long answer to your very short question.
That was a very, very excellent answer. And I appreciate you going in both directions like that, because what you say is right. And here's the thing, and here's my advice to you as your friend. And I like to think of sometimes maybe a little coach to you, because we've talked about some other things and, working through, and I do that a lot with people. But you got 47 years to go, minimum, you personally, all right? 100 years old. So that's a long time. And so the decisions that you're making today are going to affect the next 47 years. So what are the choices we're going to make? What are the choices? And I have that little equation that I may have shared with you. I'm going to repeat it again, because I love it so much. I even had a student help me kind of clarify it a little different. Choice plus challenge equals change. So you make the choice. It's depending on the challenge is the level of the change, and that they're directly proportional. The student that I met, she suggested choice plus channel equals change. And they really do fit very nicely together, because what you were just saying is, hey, outcomes and clear expectations. So choice plus challenge equals change. And so just keep that in mind, everybody. That's some very, very good information, very good thinking. And that's going to be a great message. So thank you, Mike. That was wonderful. So I appreciate that.